Hi everyone, this is daveac and this is my vblog 202 for Friday the 1st of June 2012, although technically it's actually clicked over to Saturday night. Yes, I'm doing this extremely late, had quite a long day, so I had a little bit of a break. I decided to have some supper first because of course on this 15-minute vlog I will be drinking a wine at the end. And the strapline for today is, as we start to celebrate the Queen's Diamond Jubilee, I podcast, I watch tennis, I eat strawberries and cream, and I drink wine. Yes, very nice indeed, but I have been working rather hard this week as well on podcasting stuff. So let me just say, just about an hour and a half ago, Lewis Trapani put up the latest of the Doctor Who Podshocks. That's Podshock episode 271, and that was the one where not only I was helping Lewis, but my Cult and Collective co-host Ian the Sixth Doctor was helping me too. And that is it's actually over 2 hours, this particular episode of Podshock, because it also includes the John Predle interview that Ian and myself did for the Cult and Collective, and this is a sort of edited down section for Podshock. So hope you will give that a listen, because it's on podshock.net or on iTunes, or indeed I'm sure you can find links to it in a number of other places. Now the Cult and Collective have been busy for that, because as well, first of all, let's start with the bad news. Last Sunday we were going to do our Series 3 review of the TV series Misfits. That was the one we were telling you had an explicit tag. Well, there were some explicit words going around, but those were between the members because we were having real technical issues, and in fact we never got that podcast off the ground. What we ended up doing is some of us recamped to our backup studio podcast site, and we did another program, but because quite a lot of us, the people, couldn't make it to that, what we did is we decided to move forward the Misfits episode. And what we did instead, and this is the episode that's up from this last week, it actually shows up as being done on the Saturday, not the Sunday, that's the 26th of May, is the Doctor Who Good as Gold review. Remember, that's the script to screen Blue Peter winner, and it's just over 3.25 minutes little episode of the Doctor, filmed in the TARDIS by young writers, and you can hopefully listen to that. Not a particularly long podcast, just over 40 minutes, and that is up on the feeds. But also yesterday I finished editing the interview that we've been looking forward to so long. Unfortunately Ian couldn't make it, but we had already got on board Mike Mandel-Thorpe, and the interview was with the editors of The Mythological Dimensions of Neil Gaiman, the same editors who brought us The Mythological Dimensions of Doctor Who in November 2010. So Mike and myself did this interview. It's now up on the feeds. It runs nearly an hour and a half, and I hope you'll enjoy it. That's with Anthony Burge, Jessica Burke and Christine Larson. And we talk about some of the sections of the book, talk about Neil Gaiman in general, and I hope you will give that a listen. Now, I was uploading this about 3:30 in the morning, so I actually made a slight error on the actual wording of it. The other way I could correct the RSS feed for that was to also upload a second little podcast, and that is entitled, let me just get, yeah, here it comes, the TMDONG, that's the Mythological Dimensions of Neil Gaiman book quiz info. Yes, during the course of the interview, we were offered a book to give us a prize, and we were undecided how we'd do that. So as it happened, Mike and myself recorded a little segment that is both in the interview but also standalone, separate, talking about this quiz offer that we're going to be doing in 2 or 3 weeks on the Cult and Collective. So what I did is I uploaded that as a separate little 4-minute podcast, because by doing that, I put it out for people to download, but it also meant it cleared the RSS feed and corrected the little mistake I'd made. So if you don't actually get to see that book quiz info podcast, don't worry, because I have deleted it, but it may well still appear on your RSS feed depending on when that is updated. That was a bit long-winded, wasn't it? And I should give a shout out there, because Mike was really helpful in doing that interview. Just to remind you that any Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Mike has his Friday night trivia, and this is on his Radio Free Caneling podcast on TalkShoe, and the TalkShoe ID for that is 72402. In fact, I'll be going to that in about an hour. So, hope you will take a look at that. So there's lots going on, and of course this Sunday, which will be, what date is that? That will be Sunday the 3rd of June. We will hopefully be doing our review of Series 3 of Misfits. Remember, that has an explicit tag, 16 years and over, to take part and to listen to that one. Okay, well, what else have I been? Well, I've been watching a little bit of the royal festivities. Of course, there's the big procession, can't be the right word, can they? There's the big thing down the Thames with all the barges this weekend, and we're having like 4 days of celebration for Queen Elizabeth II being on the throne. Of course, Diamond Jubilee, 60 years. So an awful lot going on with that. But actually, I must admit, the main focus of my attention away from the internet has been watching on channel ITV4 the tennis from Roland Garros, the fantastic French Tennis Open. Really been enjoying that, and that's why I've got a reference to strawberries and cream. Yes, strawberries and cream, and of course, not necessarily at the same time having wine. And in fact, I will be going to a wine in a couple of more minutes. I just want to check my details here. Yes, because of me still reading the Mythological Dimensions ready for the interview, and I'm going to continue reading it, by the way, because I am enjoying it, and because I'm also still reading my Neverwhere, Neil Gaiman's book. I haven't got any DVDs. Well, I have got a DVD. You know I have. I've got the Dark Shadows DVD, but I'm afraid I'll have to put that back yet again. I do apologise for that. Okay, what I'm going to do now is go straight to the wine, because I'm hoping that I'm really going to enjoy this wine, because on my Big and Fruity podcast, which I do on TalkShoe, and I do that on a Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, that's 10 p.m. here in the UK, I was doing about mass-produced wines on episode 40 this last Tuesday, and in actual fact, the wine that I chose was Turning Leaf Vineyards. Sounds grand, doesn't it? Turning Leaf Vineyards, Cabernet Sauvignon, 2010, 13% California. Well, that is not wrong. However, it's not bottled in California. It's shipped in bulk in containers to this country, bottled here. And in actual fact, although it says Turning Leaf Vineyards, it's actually owned by the Gallo. Gallo. Is it I-O? Gallio. Firm in America. And I found out on the Big and Fruity that there are about 50 different vineyards all under this one grouping. And not only that, I found another one called Constellation Brands that had 200 brands, although that included beers and whiskies and things as well. So what I was talking about was these wines, and I must admit I didn't finish the wine. It had an industrial taste to me. It had the elements that it said it had on the bottle. It had bits of vanilla. It had oakiness. It had, a little bit of mocha or whatever. But it wasn't integrated. It was too sweet for a start, for a red wine. And it had this sort of, not tasted as though it had been in oak barrels, but what I think it had been in some sort of aluminium large container, and wood chippings are in some way inside there to impart this sort of oakiness to it. But really, I wasn't really well pleased with it. So I've got what I hope there's going to be a slightly better wine tonight. And this is it. Let's hold it still. There we are. Now it's actually, that's a letter O, the green one. So it's O by Emilina as that. Organic Vineyards, 2010, Syrah from the Rapel Valley, Chile. Reserva, freeze frame, and that's 14%. And I had it poured out. It's been open nearly now, I must admit, for nearly 2 hours. Yes, I've been good. I've been watching Graham. I was going to do this before Graham Norton's show. By the way, he had Charlize Theron on as one of the guests. Of course, that's one of the actresses that's in Prometheus. She's been reading. My son just sent me a little text to say he'd been to see it tonight. One of his friends, April, said she'd been with the same group. And I think it got a reserved success. I think one or two of their party had issues with one or two things in it. But overall, they thought it was great. And my main concern was, how did Idris Elba do? Because I like him as an actor from watching the TV series Luther. But he apparently plays the captain of the Prometheus. So I'm not giving any spoilers. I just wanted to know how well he was in that role. Anyway, it's 11.5 minutes. There's the wine. Now this is promising. We're back to that lovely, I've talked about it before, blackberry brambleberries. You really look almost an autumny smell there. Let's have a taste. Now that's much better. I'm getting more integration. I'm getting some licorice coming through there at the end as well. Now that definitely is drier than that turning leaf. It's got a lot of blackberry flavours in it, a little bit of red currant, but mostly black currant. I've got a nice little oakiness and vanilla coming through, a little bit of licorice, as I said. Let's see what else. It's dry, but it's not tart. It's not got any harshness. It's very nicely integrated. This wine, by the way, it was, what was it? I got it for £5, but it's usually, I think, £7.50. Got it from Tesco's. And actually, that is rather nice indeed. Nice peeling bottle, I think, as well. I think that always helps. Yeah, one more little taste, and I think we'll give the thumbs up for that one. There's that slight puckering that you get. Really nice, very, very nice indeed, and certainly at £5, an absolute bargain. And that, of course, is from Tesco's, as I said. Well, I'm going to stop there. I've actually got a minute to spare for once. So please forgive me for those things. It might be the same next week because, of course, the French tennis is only just started the second week. So it'll be going on all the way to next weekend. And, of course, there's all the festivities surrounding the Jubilee. So let's be patriotic and finish with a toast to the Queen. Whether you believe in the monarchy or not, I think she's done a fantastic job and she's served the country well. So here's to the Queen. I feel as though I should be standing up doing that. I'm not an enormous fan of all the monarchy, but I do feel as though the Queen has been an absolute gem, and she is a very, very good attribute to the country as a whole, and I've been happy to have her as the monarch. Well, with that, I better end. My 15 minutes is up. Catch you next time, everybody. Thanks for watching.